All right, class, this is a little bit more in-depth description, and we will also navigate on screen a deeper look at the research project for the semester. So there are going to be some links we're going to look at from inside the Canvas class. I'll do my best to describe what it is you're supposed to do for the project, but that also exists in a Word doc inside the module where you will find the link to this video, the Research Project Time module. And once everything is done, we'll come back real quick and wrap it up. I want to give you all the ability you should need to peruse these journal articles, find one that really resonates with you, that you like, that you can review and critique, and you have the ability to choose it and get the abstract and title and maybe the link back to me in the Dropbox for this 2-week Research Project Time module. That's the only assignment in here, in a timely fashion. It's open for 2 weeks, no reason necessarily to wait that long. Once you get it to me and I say yes and give you the few points it's worth, you can be off and running reading the article, and that is the only thing that you have to do. For the second portion of this 2 weeks, there is a quiz that exists in parallel along with it, just like normal, but this module is open for 2 weeks, and right now it's not doing the project and submitting it, it's just choosing the article. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so here we are in the class. I'm going to go over to modules. And as we scroll down, we will see, once we get past the quiz, which is open now, but you may be watching this video once this one is closed because it's due in a week, the Research Project Time module, much bigger, is open for 2 weeks. So first thing in the module is simply a description saying that it's a 2-week period for you to find your article, and in the next item in the module, to drop in there text, web link, whatever, the abstract, a link to the journal article, certainly put the title in there so I know which one you're looking at. So you can tell me this is the one I want to use. You get your 10 points, real simple. That's all that's needed for this 2 weeks. Look through, read through some articles, and figure out which one you're going to use and submit it and get it okayed. Now, of course, you also are going to be doing that quiz the first week, but majority of the time is meant for you to be spending going through Tennessee archaeology and Ohio archaeology journals. Good, close to home stuff with lots of articles we'll take a look at in just a moment, and to choose which one you want. So here is an example. It's 40 slides long in a PowerPoint, which is pretty good size. Doesn't have to be that big, but it's a good one. This person takes an article, this was from a few years ago, and describes it in detail. So you can see we're up here at page 9, and as we move through the pages, we've got charts and graphs, got a good bit of information, and this person describes it, and they use bullet points. It's not just a bunch of paragraphs for someone to read, but they are assessing and reporting on what they understand about the article, and in this part of it, when you're not using just a bunch of quotes, but you're actually describing the article, it's the first place I'll be able to see that you comprehended it and chose something that was good for you. And then when she gets down near the bottom, literally the last 2 slides, is where she critiques the article, not only their knowledge and how they wrote the article, which is fine, but that's not all we want to critique. We don't just want to say, I think they did a good job, or I think they should have used more pictures. What we really need to be saying is additionally, and she even spells out, before taking the class, she had a limited understanding of the subject. And even though it's a stretch, yes, she says she feels that she has a better understanding of the article and would consider doing something a little bit different. She's asking for different information, recognizing that there's a different sort of chronological research that the authors could have done. And she doesn't have to explain necessarily how that would be done, just however is needed to explain that it was a good article, it was a good research project, I thought they did a good job and got these conclusions, but I would do something a little differently, or additionally. And that's really the meat of it. If you can tell me what you would do differently in reading a peer-reviewed journal article, something written for consumption by other professional archaeologists, then you're really showing me that you understand the topic. Let's jump back down here, and probably you understand it better than you did before you took the class. So there's a forum down here as well if you need to ask questions that are for the good of the class that are not directly to me. There's this video that you're watching right now. There is the Tennessee Archaeology Journal and the Ohio Archaeological Council's journal, and then there's some guidelines. Let's quickly look at these, and then we'll go back and take a quick look at the journals and how you navigate them. So choose a journal article from those provided, read it, easy. Critique the article, You can give me writer's stance, style, opinions. That's all great. And write a paper, presentation, could be YouTube, could be PowerPoint, Prezi, Word, whatever, explaining the article's content as though you were explaining it to maybe not even me, but maybe a friend of yours who doesn't know about archaeology. So it should be taking that technical content and explaining it in a logical and understandable way. Book report style again, tell us about it thoroughly. And then go in here and say what you would do differently. Not only your opinions about their research, which would be beyond just your opinion of their writing style, but go even deeper and say what you would do differently, how you would make that research even better. All right, let's go ahead and go back now. Here is the Ohio Archaeological Council Journal. You've got a number of volumes to go through. So here's this special one was stuff on Serpent Mound. This is always fun. So here's an article by Dr. Jared Burks. And you can see this one's pretty short. This one may not be real good. If you gave me this one, I might say, this says preface to special issue, but this is probably not going to provide enough meat, especially since half of it's pictures. So yeah, that would be an example where even though it's from the journal, that one would not work for this article. So let's go back. Let's find something a little better. Even though it's older, 2014, there's a few articles here. Testimony concerning ancient earthworks. Interesting. See what it's about. 11 pages. That's kind of middle of the road to small, but it might still be enough. There's got to be enough content for you not only, remember, to report on, but critique. And in this case, he's gathering data, information, oral traditions even, from previous records. Schoolcraft is a researcher from a long time ago. And so this is something that is not going to be so much scientific laboratory research, but a little bit different, but you could still critique what he did. And he's even, at the end, going to have his references cited. So this is a good peer-reviewed journal article. It's a short one at 11 pages. You'll find some others that are really good that are like 25, 30 pages. Make sure that's what you want before you choose it. And if we go back one more, you'll see the Tennessee Journal is also really good. Quite a few options. So there's current issue and all these articles. They give you one PDF. So you've got to say which article inside. Don't just give me the link to this PDF because it is, how many pages? Quite a few, I suspect. There, 125 pages. So don't give me this and say, I'm reviewing this one. No, you're not reviewing that one. You're going to review something inside this one. So you would want to give me the title of whatever it is you're reviewing. And again, I'll check it and make sure it's going to work for this particular project. But there, in addition to the current issue, there are lots of past issues, each of which have 3, 4, 5, 6 articles in them. So there's a lot to choose from in here. And you're going to be choosing one, deciding that it's a good one for you to review and critique. The content is something that makes sense, and you could suggest areas for future or further research, and maybe even how that would be done, and get all that in a report, in a Word doc, in a presentation of some form. I've even had people make YouTube videos that were narrated, really interesting stuff. But it's got to be, of course, your original work. You've got to somewhere in there cite all of this information and the name and author of the article you choose. You don't need a full references cited page unless you use other sources. And you've got to get all that to me in whatever number of pages or paragraphs are necessary. People always say, is 4 pages enough? Well, if it is enough, then it's enough. So make sure you get me what you need. Again, you don't need to overdo it. And presentations with bullet points and things are usually easier to consume, certainly, than papers, but you can make it whatever you want. All right, so there you have it. Go in there, find the journal article from one of those 2 provided. They are local, they're understandable. They may not be as exciting as Egyptology necessarily, but good stuff, easy to understand and report on, content that we all understand geographically. And you should be able to find a plethora of articles to choose from. Find one that works for you, one that you find interesting. Get me the information. Please do so before Sunday night, a week and a half, week and 3/4 from now, because I may come back to you and say, no, that's not necessarily going to be the best, like the one that I show in the video that's 4 pages. That one won't work. It needs to be a little longer and a little more involved research project than that. So get that back to me as soon as you can. Ask as many questions as you like. Once you have that, we'll get back for the last few text assignments and quizzes that come after this 2-week period. And then it's submit the research project, do the final, and we're done. So hopefully the semester's going well. Don't hesitate to reach out if you got questions, and we'll talk to you soon.